Bandiman Bailey Lowery. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Captain Cool.
Hello and welcome in to a wacky Wednesday edition of the Morning Blitz. John Abraham, Captain Cool, alongside the Bandiman Bailey Lowery. And hey, Bandy, we had a wonderful time over at Toyota Field last night for WZZN night as they were playing up against the Shuckers. That's a team name. That is actually a team name. And wonderful night, very beautiful night. Great time for baseball, but they'll be playing throughout the week against them, and we're going to be following them all throughout. You'll be able to catch all of those games over on Talk Radio WZZN. Make sure you guys download the app because that'll be the home for all things Trash Pandas. And speaking of baseball, of course, the news came out yesterday that legend Willie Mays has passed away at the age of 93, just a few days before he was going to be honored, remembered, of course, at Rickwood Field down in Birmingham, of course, where the Birmingham Black Barons used to play. Of course, the team that he jumped on when he was only 17 years old and, of course, still in high school and listening to his father, staying in high school as well as playing baseball. He's able to do the best of both worlds. He played weekend games and only played around 10 of them for the Black Barons, and then getting brought up to the MLB to play, of course, for the New York Giants, and then going from there, having a wonderful career. And to remember him a little bit more, we'll be talking with one Mr. Drew DeArmond from Talkin' Ball, as well as getting into a little bit of the recruiting news over at Alabama. And Drew is not on site with us, but he is on phone on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline, presented by Mercury Motors in Alumni Hall. Drew, how you doing today, man?
Doing well, guys. It's a sad day, to lose one of the true icons in the sport, arguably the greatest all-around player in baseball history, and to say, hey, kid, Willie Mays. I mean, if you have songs written about you, and anytime anybody says, say, hey, they know it's about Willie Mays. Yeah. What an amazing impact he had on the game of baseball, playing 24 years, really for the same organization, the New York Giants. Then the San Francisco Giants did finish up 2 years with the Mets, but the majority of his career, you're talking about with the Giants organization. He made the greatest catch in baseball history, with his back to home plate in the 1954 World Series, and he was only, I think, in his his fourth year at that point. Won the MVP that year, and the New York Giants won the World Series, swept Cleveland, the Indians that year, 4-0. Really, that play was the jump start to them winning that World Series, and he went on to hit 660 homers, still 338 bases, batted .301, and the amazing thing, guys, he's been retired since the early 70s. Yeah. His 12 Gold Gloves in center field are still tied for the most for any baseball player in history. So there was nothing that Willie Mays could do on a baseball diamond.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just going through all his accolades. I mean, again, playing 23 seasons, but making 24 All-Star appearances, a Rookie of the Year award, 2 MVPs, a batting title, and like you said, 12 Gold Gloves. I mean, really the most versatile player in baseball history.
Yeah, no doubt about that, Bandy. And his first at-bat was actually a home run. And in his third year, he actually didn't play his third year because he was serving the United States, which shows you how much of a hero he was, not just in the sports scene, but also in just the national scene as well. And even when he did move over to San Francisco, I mean, it was a different time, of course. They didn't accept him the way that they were accepting him over in New York. And the way that he really won these guys over, these fans that, didn't really understand, the black athletes of the time, he won them over by just playing good baseball. And it got to the point where, that's what a lot of black athletes did back in the time to, gain acceptance, I would say, within the sport. But Drew, real quick, just kind of last little message on him before we get into a little bit of recruiting news.
Well, yeah, and I mean, here's another, I think, nice little factoid as to why Willie was the greatest player, arguably, of all time. We kind of talked about this a little bit on Talkin' Ball this morning, but this is kind of what separated him. Willie stole 338 bases in his big league career.
Babe Ruth wasn't doing that.
Yeah, and I mean, and exactly. I mean, he led the league in stolen bases 4 years in a row, and this is the stat that I thought was amazing. When he stole 40 bags in 1956, which was 2 years after winning one of his MVP awards. I think he won the other one in 1965, and then 2 years after winning the World Series in '56. He led the league in stolen bases with 40, and it was the most by any National League player after he had led the NL in stolen bases 4 years in a row. It was the most stolen by anyone since 1929.
Wow.
So he kind of brought the stolen base back into baseball as well.
That's definitely an interesting stat right there. And it was well before, of course, the MLB changed up their rules to make it that much easier to steal a base. But Drew, kind of getting over into the Alabama recruiting news, of course, we wanted to touch on a few stories going down yesterday. But thankfully enough, those stories kind of came into fruition, and now we can talk about them a little bit more. Tell us the information we now know going on over at the University of Alabama.
Yeah, I kind of teased it on the Morning Blitz yesterday that there would be some news coming down the pike yesterday afternoon. It was 12 Pacific, 2 o'clock Central Time, and as expected, Jackson Lloyd, big-time 4-star, probably going to end up being a 5-star offensive tackle. He's arguably the top prospect in California in the 2025 cycle from Carmel, California. He chose the University of Alabama basically over, in-state USC Trojans, Ohio State. He was the first offer by Kalen DeBoer's coaching staff when they got there in January. All their recruiting paid off. He's 6'7", 290 pounds. But the thing is, he's a three-sport athlete, guys. He plays football, plays basketball, plays baseball. So he's a great athlete, has great deep end, and he's going to get bigger. Now, as Rodney Orr pointed out on Talking Ball this morning, he's not a guy that's probably going to, they don't want their lineman being 340, 350 now. He'll probably be 315 to 320, but he'll definitely put weight on. I think he's got the ability to play the left tackle spot. But even if it's right, I mean, he's an elite offensive tackle prospect. It's a position of need for Alabama. They've still got Ty Haygood on their radar too, another 5-star. If they can pull Ty Haygood, to go with Jackson Lloyd, it would probably be the 2 best bookend tackles in the country for one recruiting class in 2025. And then if they get Micah DeBose, as many people are kind of anticipating, the offensive tackle, but who can also slide inside the guard. He's nearly a 5-star level prospect from Viger High School in Alabama. If he visits this weekend and Alabama locks him down, then I think they could have as good a 5-man class as there's ever been at Alabama in recruiting. And that's saying something with all the guys that Nick Saban signed. But This offensive line class could be as good as any on paper we've ever seen, and would be huge for Kalen DeBoer and those guys who are trying to – I mean, right now, guys, they've only got, about 14 guys on scholarship. None of them are seniors, but there's Tyler Booker and Jaden Roberts could very easily turn pro after this year. So what they've got going on, they're trying to restock the cupboard a little bit, especially at the offensive tackle spot. That's what made Jackson Lloyd's addition so important to get him on board yesterday.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Drew DeArmond from Talking Ball is our guest on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. And as we talk about this new offensive line that Alabama is trying to form behind Kalen DeBoer, we kind of look at it, and you brought up, the difference that we're seeing. I mean, last year, the year before that, we've been talking about how big this offensive line has been, averaging even bigger than some NFL offensive lines. And, of course, Kalen DeBoer is bringing in a different type of offense to Tuscaloosa. Kind of just talk about really the speed and the athleticism behind some of these guys that he wants on his offensive line.
Yeah, it's a good point, John. Their system is a little different. They do a lot of outside run, a lot of pulling, so they want to be more athletic. While Eric Wolford likes power and likes size and girth, he wanted them to be like 340, 350 across the front. We know they had the biggest offensive line in football last year, even bigger than any NFL line. They want to be more athletic with more knee bend and quickness. So I think the Parker Brailsford, the center, I wouldn't be surprised if he's about 280, 285, probably 290 max. Guard spots, they'll probably want to be in the 330 330-pound range at the heaviest, maybe even more like 320. And then on the outside at the tackle spot, 310, 315, 320. So they can be very, very quick with a lot of knee bend because they're going to do a lot of pass blocking too. So their pass protection will be at a premium because offensively we know Kalen DeBoer and new offensive coordinator Nick Sheridan and Jamarcus Shepard, the offensive line coach, they're going to throw the football. They want to be explosive. So it's going to be a different system. So without a doubt, there's going to be a little bit of a different philosophy with Chris Capellic coming in, also from Michigan State to be the offensive line coach. But the early returns are really good. They've done a great job getting here in January of putting, just in recruiting, doing the groundwork to have this offensive line class potentially come to fruition. And it could be great, man. I mean, it could be as good as we've seen. And that would be huge for this first recruiting class. I mean, they're number 3, I think, in 24/7 right now in the top 10 and on 3. So they've got a really legit chance in Kalen DeBoer's first year of signing a top 5 class in recruiting, and that would be phenomenal. I know Nick Saban had everybody used to be number 1. If they weren't number 1, people were panicking. But again, I think I don't know if this class will be number 1. They'll certainly make a run at it, but they're going to be elite. And with the roster already in a healthy spot that Nick Saban left it in, and Kalen DeBoer and his staff and Courtney Morgan doing a great job in the portal adding guys, but then also retaining players and getting Caden Proctor back, who, by the way, is going to be in his old 74 again next year.
Nice.
Alabama's in a strong spot right now.
Definitely is, and it's exciting to hear, especially for us Alabama fans, even just SEC fans, just I mean, a lot of people aren't going to be too happy because they're going to have to go up against this team. But, I mean, even with the addition of these linemen, you still got the wide receivers that they're bringing in. Okay, Jeremy Bernard, of course, from Washington, Caleb Odom, Ryan Williams, the freshman, Bubba Hampton. Those, I mean, they're bringing in freshmen, they're bringing in the transfers, and, of course, they still got guys like Kendrick Law, Kobe Prentice. Are there any other talent position players getting brought in or even being thought about being brought in this year or possibly just in 2025?
Well, I think they're looking to 2025, but I think also you got to understand, I wouldn't leave out Kendrick Law. I think he's going to be a valuable gadget guy that's going to bring up toughness and physicality. But you bring up a good point. People have kind of forgotten about Bubba Hampton from the state of Texas. They flipped him late from the Longhorns, and he's versatile. Some people think his best position might be safety, but he can play receiver. He can play running back. It'll be interesting to see the way they utilize him. He's kind of, because of Ryan Williams getting all this buzz, so far, guys, all the early returns from workouts he's going to be special. I've been hearing that you talked about Jeremy Bernard, the transfer from Michigan State. He is very likely going to make a huge impact. Ryan Williams, I think, will be in that top 3, and he was once he reclassified, the number 1 prospect in the state of Alabama and one of the top 5, I think, overall in the country, maybe the best wide receiver. And then you talk about a guy like Kobe Prentice, who had a nice freshman year, but this system may fit him even better. I think with the guys you talked about, Bubba Hampton, Kendrick Law, even with that injury to Jalen Hill, Emmanuel Henderson as well, who I think is going to be a better fit for this offense. I think Jalen Hill's injury, though it hurts, and he showed some flashes last year, and he's likely to miss the majority, if not all, this season. I think they've got enough guys, along with other freshmen like Rico Scott and Amari Jefferson, coming in with Ryan Williams, that they can, and you mentioned Caleb Odom, they're going to have enough depth to still be very, very effective at the wide receiver spot.
No doubt about that. Drew, we're going to get you out of here, let you focus on driving a little bit more, but give us a little teaser of what we're going to get into with you on Friday.
We're going to see if it's the SEC Invitational, guys.
Yes, sir.
And, see if it is in the College World Series. We know we had a rain out yesterday, so I know as soon as you guys get done, we're going to be going into that Florida, Kentucky game that got rained out. There will be no Tom Abraham show today, but it's going to be a full day of college baseball, and then Tennessee going to try to eliminate, Florida State and see if they can, earn their berth in the finals. And then Texas A&M is going to be waiting for the winner of that first game of the day today between Kentucky and Florida. So hopefully by the end of the day, it's going to be an SEC Invitational in Omaha.
Heck yeah, we got a triple header for you guys on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Drew, safe travels. Can't wait to see you on Friday, and have fun, brother.
Thank you, guys.
Good stuff. Drew DeArmond, again, from Talking Ball. You can catch him from 7 to 9 weekdays with Scott Tyson. We got to hop into a break. When we come back, might touch on a little bit of the Baltimore Ravens. Buffalo Bills are doing some interesting stuff with flag football, which I kind of, I'm all for, but, me and Bainey have some, opinions on it. And Tom Brady also getting in the booth for the first time at the UFL Championship. And speaking of UFL, we will have James Larson on from the UFL newsroom in the third segment to talk all things UFL, spring football, and which one of those players are going into the NFL. That's what's coming up here on the Morning Blitz on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
97.7 ESPN The Zone is the Tennessee Valley's #1 destination for the finest in sports talk all day long. Tune in to Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond each morning at 7. Then, the Morning Blitz with Captain Cool and the Bandiman. At noon, it's the Tom Abraham Show, followed by Paul Feinbaum and The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton. The Zone is also your home for University of Alabama and UAH sports, plus the Atlanta Braves and the High School Sports Streaming Network. And sister station Talk Radio WZZN has Trash Pandas action with Josh Carey all season long. 97.7 ESPN The Zone and Talk Radio WZZN. Listen on the air or download the apps and take them with you everywhere.
Cafe.com. Good Company Cafe, 7500 South Memorial Parkway.
I'm attorney Gary Lackey. If you've been injured and need a lawyer right now, and pick up the phone to call, one you've seen on a billboard or on TV begging for your business, do you know who you really get?
I'm attorney Jennifer Lackey. You want to talk to your lawyer. You don't want to reach a call center, not in some office 100 miles away. With the Lackey Law Firm, that never happens. My clients talk to me.
And me. I'm attorney Justin Lackey. We're the ones that you talk to. We're the ones that you meet with.
And we're the ones who handle your personal injury case. You want to talk to me? You just call me.
And we'll take care of it. You worry about getting well. We'll take care of the rest.
The Lackey Law Firm.
And I'll go you one better. If you can't come to us, we'll come to you.
The Lackey Law Firm. The Lackey Law Family. 1-800-4-RIGHTS.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
Tom Luganbill here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
This summer, make Cheeseburger Bobby's your go-to spot for great food. Try their bucket list burger, 2 beef patties, fried egg, bacon, onion ring, 3 slices of American cheese, Bobby sauce, and topped with a pickle. Their fresh, hand-breaded chicken tenders are a fan favorite, and the chili cheese dog with fries will make you think you've died and gone to hot dog heaven. Cheeseburger Bobby's, 2785 Carl T. Jones Drive. Order online at cheeseburgerbobbies.com.
Hello, welcome back in to the Morning Blitz. John Abraham, Captain Cool, alongside the Bandiman, Bailey Lowery.
Oh, Marvel 2 is back.
Golly. I mean, Bandy was talking extensively about it. They're bringing a whole collection of those games, the Capcom, of course, Marvel versus Capcom, all that jazz. It's going to be very fun for him. Great summer. When did those games come out, by the way?
We don't know yet.
Okay, never mind.
It did say later this year.
Either way, it's going to be a great summer just because College Football 25 is coming out. And on top of that, I get a lot of other video games to look forward to. But at the same time, I also get to look forward to more hockey because Bandy, I would replay the clip, but I don't want to be that guy that's just like, I was right, I was right. But, the Stanley Cup Finals going to Game 6 and talk about an exciting game last night. I mean, Connor McDavid, of course, putting up 4 points yet again. 2 games in a row now to get this team back into contention for the Stanley Cup itself. But the real thing is this game was very close, high scoring to make it interesting. And the Oilers taking it to Game 6 just to lose in Edmonton is going to be very sad. Now, I will say this, though. I predicted them to lose in Game 6, but the way they are playing right now, being able to destroy Sergei Bobrovsky, I think this actually might go to Game 7. There's a huge possibility the way that this team is playing and the energy that Edmonton is going to bring to this team. And I will say, the Panthers also did look good. They were able to get this game close. It was 4-3 at one point, and we got to see some interesting stuff. Matthew Tkachuk saved probably the most insane empty net goal I've ever seen. And then, of course, he got scored on anyway. But still, the puck was probably like 10 feet in front of him, and it was right next to the goal. He dives, and it has to be the most beautiful play I've ever seen. Him just swiping the stick and hitting it out of the net's way, which was just absolutely crazy. The last 3 minutes of that game was wild. I loved it. Probably the best game of the series. But now, again, taking it back to Edmonton for Game 6. Again, 5-3 was the score last night. Whew, guys, we got ourselves a series. I'm glad this is making for a little bit more of an interesting time than the NBA Finals, baby.
Oh, yeah. And hey, the line's already opened up, too. It's got Edmonton favored at minus 125 there in Game 6. So, I mean, hey, your prediction of a Game 7 could be pretty spot on.
Well, let's take it easy, all right? I'm not going to just change my prediction. I said Edmonton would lose in Game 6. I think that's where the series is going to go. But the way that this Edmonton team has been playing, there is a huge possibility that I'm going to be wrong. They're going to take it to Game 7, and it is going to be a wonderful finale to the NHL season. Now, going back to a little bit of the RCAs that we had the other night, I told you guys I'd be bringing you some of the winners if you weren't there, if you weren't watching, and I wanted to let you know that the College Athlete of the Year from the area was between Ebony McCarty from Ole Miss, or sorry, not from Ole Miss, Micah Pettis and Mark Sears. And Mark Sears, of course, got the dub. I mean, whenever people saw Mark Sears on the screen, they were like, okay, I think we know who's going to be winning this. Ebony McCarty, of course, the swimmer from Georgia. North Alabama College Coach of the Year, Chris Walker, Shannon O'Keefe, Rich Rodriguez, all of them having really huge accolades with their squads, but Rich Rod got the win from Jack State, their first season, of course, in the top league of college football. And then Pro Athlete of the Year from the area, Lee Hodges, Graham Ashcraft, Craig Kimbrell from the Baltimore Orioles got the dubski with that one. Now, another thing, just to segue over, because Baltimore is the team that we're going to be looking at, but in the NFL scene, the Ravens actually just dropped their alternative helmet. And I will say this, and it pains me to say this, because I absolutely hate the Ravens. But their helmet is looking pretty good.
Looking pretty nice.
Looking pretty good. That matte purple with the 2000s Raven on it, of course, whenever they replaced the Cleveland Browns as a football team in the NFL. There's a reason why I hate the Ravens. But I love the helmet that they're going with. And the purple on purple on purple on purple is going to look great. It's going to look a little bit more like Thursday nights from a few years ago, if you know what I'm saying. But I'm trying to understand, with all of these cool helmets, I'm learning that the extremely matte style is kind of overwhelming at times. I feel like every team is going to that. You look at the Lions alternative helmet. It's matte. Mm-hmm. You look at, the Browns, they whenever they first went to their new jerseys back in 2015, I think, their terrible jerseys, they introduced the matte helmet. There's a bunch of other teams that are throwing out the matte helmet. And I'm wondering when it's going to be a little too much, to when it's not cool anymore, it's just overused.
Yeah.
That's what I'm worried about. Now, Bandy, real quick before we get out of here and talk with one Mr. James Larson from UFL Newsroom, I wanted to bring up this. It is a huge day. Of course, Juneteenth, very big day. Everybody have a wonderful, wonderful Juneteenth. But there's also, another celebration going on. It is LGBT Awareness Month. I don't know all of the stipulations behind it, but the Buffalo Bills wanted to hop in on this, make everybody think that they accept everybody, and I think they do. We do as well, Bandy. But I think it is a little strange, okay? I just learned about this. But there is a National Flag Football League, but there's also a G in there, so it's the National Gay Flag Football League. And when I saw this, I was a little concerned. Why do we have to have a specific league for a totally different demographic? I think that gay people can play with straight people. I think that is definitely a thing that could be done.
It's already been proven in the NFL.
And it's already been proven in the NFL, yes, Bandy. And this has been a thing that's gone on since 2002, okay? Putting a specific demographic into a specific group or football league or league in general is a little strange to me. I accept everybody. Whatever you want to do, that's great. But putting it into a league, having a Super Bowl type of game called the Gay Bowl, seems... Bandy! Bandy! Don't laugh. No, you can laugh.
I mean, come on.
It is a little bit on the nose, okay? It's a little bit on the nose. They're actually going to have Gay Bowl 24 this upcoming year, so that is a thing as well. But yeah, the Buffalo Bills, all for it. They're launching a new team for the National Gay Flag Football League. But why don't we have the National Gay Hockey League? Why don't we have the National Gay Basketball Alliance? Where are all those? Why don't we have them? Because they don't need to exist. They don't need to exist. Yeah. We got out of this years and years and decades ago, okay? Of course, the big news coming from Willie Mays, a guy that historically started his baseball career in the Negro League, which does not need to exist because putting people into a specific group because of what they are, who they are, is not right. Yeah. So as much as the NFL is pushing towards this and these teams are pushing towards this, I personally think it's a little wrong that it has to exist in the first place.
I'm looking at the post too. It's like it's exciting edition. It's from the Buffalo Bills on Instagram. Mm-hmm. But this exciting edition joins 27 other cities and over 4,000 players, including straight allies of a National Gay Flag Football League.
No.
So you don't even have to be gay to play in this.
No, you don't.
So it just kind of even brings it up even more. Like, what's the point?
So are the people in the normal, Flag Football League, are they not allies, I would say?
It's just crazy. Is that what they're implying?
It's weird to me, all right? It's weird to me. Let people, be in whatever league they want to be, but coming out with, it's the bowl game for me. It's the Gay Bowl.
It's just called the Gay Bowl. That's just funny to me.
It's very on the nose. But anybody who is actually a part of that probably has a wonderful time. It's probably a lot of fun. Flag football in the first place is great stuff. Sure. So to each their own. Have a lot of fun. And also, again, a happy Juneteenth. We got to hop into a break. When we get back, we're going to be talking with one Mr. James Larson from the UFL Newsroom. Birmingham had a pretty interesting showing against the Brahmas, and we're going to get into all of that and more from the Spring Football League when we get back here on the Morning Blitz on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
97.7 ESPN The Zone is the Tennessee Valley's #1 destination for the finest in sports talk all day long. Tune in to Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeAron each morning at 7. Then, the Morning Blitz with Captain Cool and the Bandiman. At noon, it's the Tom Abraham Show, followed by Paul Feinbaum and The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton. The Zone is also your home for University of Alabama and UAH sports, plus the Atlanta Braves and the High School Sports Streaming Network. And sister station Talk Radio WZZN has Trash Pandas action with Josh Carey all season long. 97.7 ESPN The Zone and Talk Radio WZZN. Listen on the air or download the apps and take them with you everywhere.
A lot of ground and over
97.7 The Zone.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-1914. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-1914. That's 800-575-1914. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Must qualify for enrollment. Results may vary.
Specializing in simple and affordable rentals, McCurry Van and Car Rental can make sure you have just the right vehicle for your next family vacation, weekend getaway, or if you just need transportation while your vehicle is being repaired. McCurry carries Ford Transit vans and Mercedes Sprinter vans, trucks and work vans, and more. And they offer discounted rental rates for long-term rentals. Now with 4 locations: Athens, Muscle Shoals, Coleman, and Huntsville. Log on McCurryRentals.com to make your reservation now. That's McCurryRentals.com.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. Maybe a little more cloud cover this afternoon, keeping temperatures slightly cooler across North Alabama, southern Middle Tennessee. Highs climbing into the upper 80s and lower 90s, which is actually seasonal for this time of year. We drop into the upper 60s, lower 70s as we head into the overnight. A partly sunny sky for your Thursday. Once again, temperatures climbing into the upper 80s and lower 90s. More sunshine for your Friday, and then as we head into the weekend, that's going to result in warmer air across the Tennessee Valley. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
From Coleman to Fayetteville and all points in between.
Son, pull the hammer back. Smokey's coming at you in a plain white wrapper.
97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Welcome back into the Morning Blitz. John Abraham, Captain Cool, alongside the Bandiman, Bailey Lowery. And make sure you guys stick with us all the way till the end of the show, because we will be announcing the winners for some Trash Panda tickets for tonight's game, as well as game in the future. You guys stopped by the booth last night and were able to put in your names, and we're going to be drawing one of those names today on the show. This show also presented by the wonderful people over at Fleming Roofing and Restoration, the guys you need to talk to about all of your roofing needs. If you're having any roofing problems, make sure you look them up online at FlemingHSV.com to fill out your free quote today. And remember that Fleming always shows up. Now, I was getting really hyped for this one, and we're going to be talking with one Mr. James Larson from UFL Newsroom about the Birmingham Stallions' win over the San Antonio Brahmas. James, how are you doing today, brother?
I'm doing great. Another show, another time to talk about UFL football, but also a little bittersweet. Yep. It might be the last time for a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. It definitely looks that way, James. But, hey, we're going to be able to finish out with a bang because we got a lot of fun things to get into today. Of course, the inaugural UFL season has come to an end. And although the league has changed, the champions have not, as the Birmingham Stallions win their 3rd in a row. And, I mean, the Brahmas team, you know, it was a weird one, all right? Because this is a Brahmas team that beat the Stallions earlier in the season, and it was a good game. And we thought this Stallions team was kind of regressing going into the playoffs and going into this championship game. But, well, it ended up like Alabama versus LSU back in 2013 whenever Alabama beat LSU 21-0. Kind of just talk a little bit about this game and where it all went wrong for the San Antonio Brahmas.
For San Antonio, I think it all went wrong pretty early in the game where they weren't mixing up the play calling. Things were flat. They weren't getting much offense, which, of course, credit to Birmingham's defense. They're playing such outstanding football this weekend. But A.J. Smith, who I know I've talked about before, is one of the brighter minds in this team. He's had a heck of a season with San Antonio, but I thought he made some key and critical mistakes this weekend that really hurt the Brahmas' chance of getting back in the football game, where at one point, they threw the ball 12 or 13 times in a row, and most of those passes were behind the line of scrimmage. So you can't really win football games if you're not pushing the ball down the field, if you're not being aggressive, and if you're not establishing the run So to have John Lovett kind of go down early in that game, he's a key piece of their offense, only got one carry and exited with what appeared to be some sort of injury. Not exactly sure what all happened there, but, San Antonio, all day long, they were flat, but that's credit to Birmingham's defense for scheming so incredibly well.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And one of those concerns that I had for this Brahmas team was the quarterback position, of course. We talk about Chase Garbers. We talked about Quentin Dormady. At what point do you think they really should have kind of made the change? Because there were a few questionable things that Garbers was doing. Of course, sliding a little bit before the first down. That would be one thing, but that was a little late in the game. When do you think they should have made a change at the quarterback position?
I think they should have considered it at halftime because Chase Garbers looked lethargic and just disengaged, and his body language was so odd throughout the entire game. Where this is a guy that had arguably his best game of the season just last week when they beat St. Louis to advance to the championship. And this time around, they had a couple delayed game penalties. They kept having to call timeouts because they weren't getting the play calls in fast enough. And for Chase, it looked like you could tell, like I said, his body language, it didn't feel like he really cared to even be on the football field. And I don't want to speak for him because obviously we don't know exactly what's going through his mind. But, like you said, for him to slide early, and he did that in the first half as well a couple of times, running out of bounds early, like just simple things that you'd think during a championship game, you'd want to put it all on the line.
Yeah.
So, I was really confused with Chase and his lack of passion in this football game.
No, the two guys that I think of when it comes to putting, a lot more on the line would be John Elway, of course, in the Super Bowl. You think of that helicopter flip he had as he was going into the end zone. And then the other one would probably be Steve Air McNair, a guy that, was definitely known for putting his body on the line to get those extra yards. Just didn't look like it was there for this Brahmas team. But looking over at, this Stallion squad, that was, of course, able to shut out the second-best team, I would say, the second-best team in the UFL, 25-0. I mean, where do you even go from here? I mean, you got 3. I mean, can you go on and get another one? Or, how are you going to do the quarterback switching again? Or are you going to add on some more players? They're definitely going to lose a few to the NFL. What are your opinions on it?
Yeah, I mean, the Stallions, they've won 3 in a row, and we've talked about it so much about how this organization is just top tier from top to bottom. So it feels like, yes, they're going to lose a couple guys. We could see Adrian Martinez go to the NFL and not return, just like Alex Magoo did a season ago. Or we could see Matt Corral leave for other opportunities. Who knows? But what we do know is that Zach Potter, their GM, and Skip Holtz, they're going to bring in guys that can compete and can play at a high level. I know we've talked about it all year. Birmingham, the most talented roster in the league, and that was on full display this weekend where San Antonio, like you said, a shutout, the first shutout in the UFL, and actually the first shutout in a Pro Football Championship. There's been no NFL Super Bowls that were a shutout, at least according to Brock Heward on the broadcast.
No.
So pretty impressive stuff from Corey Chamberlain and his Birmingham defense.
James Larson with us from UFL Newsroom. And kind of one thing, that happened toward the end of the game in the fourth. Where it got really chippy on the wide receiver line, like multiple players getting ejected on the final sideline. But what I'm thinking is this going to be like the start of a budding rivalry between these two squads, between the Brahmas and the Stallions?
I mean, is it a rivalry if the Brahmas going to get their butt kicked every time? I don't know. But in all seriousness, no, this is exactly what you want to see in spring football, right? Mm-hmm. Because some people like to delegitimize the spring football scene, and they act like it's not pro football or it's kind of minor league football. Like, this is real football. These are real athletes, and they care a lot about these football games. So to have those rivalries, similar to how Birmingham and St. Louis had a bit of a rivalry kind of earlier in the season, and they had that big game down in Birmingham. Those are the things that you love to see, right? I mean, I think spring football, when you can have rivalries and have players that really care about beating specific teams, it just brings more legitimacy to the scene. So I'm excited to see how some of these little relationships or lack thereof grow heading into season 2.
I totally agree with you on that. Definitely good to see, a lot more passion, I would say, after some of these plays. Of course, the refs don't want to see it because they got to be in the middle of it, but the fans love that stuff, and I think it'll definitely pay off in the future. And for the Brahmas, it's just a tough loss for them, of course, going to the championship game and not really able to put up a point to try and, make this game competitive. It's definitely one that they're going to want back, and they're going to be thinking about all the way up until next season. But kind of looking at, some of these guys that, well, actually, before I get into, some of the players that might be going to the NFL, I do want to talk about Tom Brady because he was actually in attendance here. And although, yes, he got booed by the St. Louis fans because, of course, he's going to get booed. I mean, this is a guy that beat St. Louis in the Super Bowl just back in 2004. Talk about how huge that is to have a guy of his stature inside of the booth and then during that presentation for the trophy.
I thought it was a great use by Fox Sports of the partnership that they now have with Tom Brady. Let's continue to move the game of football forward. Yeah. Where spring football is all about moving the game of football forward. And really, for Tom Brady, someone of his stature and all of his accomplishments and him being the Hall of Famer, the 7-time champion that he is, for him to be there, present on the field and also in the booth, making his broadcasting debut for a spring football championship, again, it's all about bringing legitimacy to the spring football scene. We know it's legitimate. We've been watching this stuff for years. Yep. But the casual fan, I think, still needs to kind of understand and grasp that spring football is here to stay, and it's a really good product. Yeah. So to have someone like Tom Brady there doing what he did, I thought you couldn't have scripted any better.
No doubt about that. James Larson from UFL Newsroom is our guest. And now we can get into the conversation of which UFL players are going on to the NFL. Of course, we've heard some stuff about some guys getting signed, a lot of the kickers, but kind of just let us know about a few players that we might have missed on previous shows that are heading on to the big leagues.
Yeah, so we've got a Battlehawks linebacker, Willie Harvey Jr., who signed with the Dallas Cowboys. This is a guy that was all UFL this year. He led the league in tackles, and he had 9 tackles for loss. He had a few sacks. He had a few pass breakups. This guy was just he was stuffing the stat sheets week in and week out, so a guy that really, really earned his contract there, and I'm excited to see what he does. Yeah. The guy from the Stallions that looks like he's signing with the Denver Broncos is Andrea Tillman, guy that you're familiar with. He's been there for 3 seasons now, and I've always been surprised that he hasn't gotten more NFL recognition just because he's been so good every year. But a guy like Andrea, he's the exact reason why spring football exists, right? He's developed his game these last couple of years, just got better and better and better each season, and now he's finally getting that NFL opportunity. And then, of course, we got to talk about our guy, Jake Bates.
Yes.
I mean, everyone knew he was going to the NFL. He's sticking in Michigan. He's going to be a Detroit Lion. I'm so excited now. Granted, I'm not a Lions fan. I'm a Vikings fan. So this is a little bittersweet for me, but I might have to show up at some Lions games just because Jake Bates is that guy.
I'm going to be honest. I thought you were a Lions fan this whole time. Maybe it's just because you're a fan of the Michigan Panthers, but I really thought that you were a Lions fan. That's a totally different team.
No, you guys, I try to stay unbiased with my journalism. I don't root for anybody.
Well, you did a great job of that then. You did a really good job of that, especially when it comes to NFL teams, because I'm not going to be able to tell. But I know, you being up in Michigan, being able to attend some of those games is definitely interesting stuff. Me, I'm a Cleveland Browns fan myself. I didn't know if you knew that. Did you know? I don't know.
I did not. Okay. You learn something new every day, right?
There you go.
Hey, I'm still looking for a team. I'm just going to throw that out there.
Benny's over here just like watching from afar. I'm still looking for a team, man.
I'm just vibing with my Jazz in the NBA.
Oh, that's so sad. It's all right. It's all right, Benny. It's not that sad. Either way, James Larson from UFL Newsroom has been our guest. James, we appreciate your time all throughout the season. It's been a lot of fun talking with you, man. What are you going to get into over the off season, and also leave us with where we can find you on socials and online?
I'll be honest, for me, there's really not much of an off-season because the UFL, round the clock, there's always stuff going on, the off-season movement. We're seeing a lot of these guys going to the NFL, so don't worry. I'll be staying busy and getting UFL content out through the rest of the year and into next year, of course.
Heck yeah.
And where you can find me, at Twitter/X, at James Larson PFN. If you want to stay up to date with stuff from the UFL, make sure to check that out and check out pfnewsroom.com.
Heck yeah, good stuff from you, James. We'll probably try and get you on before the NFL season quite a few times just to, see what's going on with some of these UFL players, because there's going to be a lot of news about them getting picked up, especially after that championship game. But you take it easy, brother. Until next time.
Appreciate you guys. Talk to you soon.
Good stuff. Again, James Larson. Find him on socials and online for all of your UFL spring football news. We got to hop into a break, Bandy, but when we come back, we're going to announce the winner for the Trash Pandas tickets, of course, a family 4-pack, as well as get into a few of the soggy talk conversation that me and Bandy love to get into here on a Wacky Wednesday in No Man's Land, here on Morning Blitz on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
97.7 ESPN The Zone is the Tennessee Valley's #1 destination for the finest in sports talk all day long. Tune in to Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond each morning at 7. Then, the Morning Blitz with Captain Cool and the Bandiman. At noon, it's the Tom Abraham Show, followed by Paul Feinbaum and The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton. The Zone is also your home for University of Alabama and UAH sports, plus the Atlanta Braves and the High School Sports Streaming Network. And sister station Talk Radio WZZN has Trash Pandas action with Josh Carey all season long. 97.7 ESPN The Zone and Talk Radio WZZN. Listen on the air or download the apps and take them with you everywhere.
Today at 256-337-2625 or log on bhhsriserealestate.com.
Are you tired of chasing a roofing contractor to show up on time or even show up at all? I'm Sam Fleming with Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Our motto at Fleming Roofing is we show up. Our goal at Fleming Roofing is to provide the reliable customer service that you deserve, and we have the resources to meet all of your roofing needs: residential, commercial, industrial, replacement, or repairs. We are manufacturer certified for roof coatings, single-ply membranes, and asphalt shingles. Whenever you need a roofing professional you can count on, call Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We are committed to finding the solution that meets your needs. We don't have quotas or heavy-handed sales tactics. Fleming Roofing, we have expert experience. We show up. Free estimates, residential, commercial, industrial, replacement, or repairs. Check us out at FlemingHSV.com. FlemingHSV.com. When you need a quick response, it's Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
From heirloom diamonds to contemporary jewels, Loring & Company is the place to find something truly special. Whether shopping for a diamond ring for that once-in-a-lifetime occasion or marking a milestone birthday or personal achievement with a Rolex watch, you'll find just the thing in our edit of the world's most sought-after brands, including David Yurman, Roberto Coin, Marco Bicego, and Fopay. Expect a treasure trove of the world's most unique, even breathtaking earrings, rings, necklaces, and bracelets, making choosing just one piece a challenge in itself. Loring & Company Jewelers on Airport Road.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. Maybe a little more cloud cover this afternoon, keeping temperatures slightly cooler across North Alabama, southern Middle Tennessee. Highs climbing into the upper 80s and lower 90s, which is actually seasonal for this time of year. We drop into the upper 60s, lower 70s as we head into the overnight. A partly sunny sky for your Thursday. Once again, temperatures climbing into the upper 80s and lower 90s. More sunshine for your Friday, and then as we head into the weekend, that's going to result in warmer air across the Tennessee Valley. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Each week, check out our latest Zone deal online at 977ESPN.com.
I'm eating good food.
We are 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Hell yeah! I was actually just going to start talking, and then I ended up just saying hell yeah because that's the song right there. Either way, welcome back into the final segment of this Wacky Wednesday edition of the Morning Blitz. John Abraham, Captain Cool, alongside the Bandiman, Bailey Lowery. Hey. Make sure you guys find us over on YouTube at WZZN TV so you can not only listen to the shows, but you can also hear and watch the shows. I know I just said here after I said listen. That is kind of the same thing. It is exactly the same thing. And if you guys don't want to ever call into the show, which you still can, 256-576-4977. You guys could use the chat box to the left of us to tell us all what you need to tell us about what we are talking about. And real quick, before we get out of here, we'll also, I had a few other things, but it really has been, the main storyline has been about Willie Mays, of course, the passing of that legend at the age of 93. And it is, at such an interesting time. Because, again, in like 2 days, I believe it's on Thursday, actually it's tomorrow, they're going to have the baseball game over at Rickwood Field, of course, where the Birmingham Black Barons used to play. And, he was actually planning to come to the event, and then he wasn't going to just because he had to come all the way from San Francisco all the way out here to the east. And so he wasn't able to. He's still very happy that, it was happening. To see an MLB game being played in a traditional Negro League field, it's definitely something to be very happy about. And I think, it's not something, of course, we're going to be mourning it. But I think a lot of it could be celebrating the life of Willie Mays and all that he did, not only for the sport, but for the United States, bringing us a little bit closer together. Just a wonderful, wonderful legacy he has left behind. And, of course, we will be remembering him all throughout the rest of the week and the great stuff that he was able to do for this country. Now, Bandy, I also did want to bring up a little bit of the race last week. I did want to touch on that. But we got to do a little bit of something with the Trash Pandas, okay? Because I said it. I'm not going to forget about it. And thankfully enough, Bandy looked at me and he was like, yeah, we got to do that. And I was like, okay. I'll get back on topic. So I have a whole thing. It's full of stickers, too. I forgot to take those out. Let me just take them out real quick. I'm not going to look at anything. By the way, if you guys ever need a sticker, you can come to the WZZN nights and get them from us. And then I'm going to stir this thing around. I really should have taken care of this during the break, Mandy. I'm so irresponsible. Golly, there's a lot of stickers. Mandy, you can talk for me for a second.
All right, we're just kind of waiting. We got a little over 2 minutes before we get into the College World Series. I mean, Kentucky, Florida.
Yeah. Oh,
Kicking off. Not kicking off.
Tipping off? Pitching off?
Pitching off?
One of those things?
Hitting the field hitting the field at 10 o'clock.
I left the pens in there. I'm not going to take all the pens out, all right? But yeah, we'll get to this right now. If you're watching on WZZN TV, you'll see me not looking at the box. If you could hear me, I'm talking towards the mic, and I'm not looking at the box. And I'm going to pick out a winner right now. And who do we got winning a family 4-pack to the Trash Pandas? It's one Mr. David Ballo. Ooh, okay. David Ballo, you are the winner. Congratulations to you. We will be sending you the information. We didn't do the drum roll, but it's okay. It was a little anticlimactic anyway because I had to take out all the stickers. Maybe the shaking around of the pens could have been the drum roll. But David Ballo, you are the winner. We will contact you right after the show. What you can look forward to on the network today. It's going to be a lot of college baseball starting with Kentucky versus Florida. That'll start at 10 because we're joining right after. As well as the Vols versus Florida State, going to be a huge matchup for that one. I'm rooting for the Vols. SEC all the way. I don't care. Let's go. And then on top of that, Texas A&M is going to be playing up against, it says to be announced, but I think we do have a team to be played with. So we'll figure that out here in a second. But it's going to be a lot of fun. And, of course, if you guys want to listen to some Trash Pandas baseball, you can head on over to Talk Radio WZZN as the Trash Pandas take on the Biloxi Shuckers. Again, that is an actual name. Their mascot is a clam. These minor league teams, Bandy, are getting really creative.
They do get creative.
They're getting very creative. Either way, Bandy, I'll talk about NASCAR next show. I'll get into that. We'll have a lot of fun with that stuff. For me and the Bandiman, though, I get to go out and play some golf. I'm going to teach my girl how to swing a club, and it's going to be extremely difficult. Teaching your woman how to golf, teaching your woman how to do anything. You throw anything at them, some things will stick, some things will come right back at you. It's like, I know how to swing the club. I know how to hold my fingers. It's like, baby, why is your middle finger going that direction? You're supposed to just crisscross it, pinky over index. Bandy taught me that one. Mandy taught me that one. He's my golfing coach. We're heading out to Cherokee Ridge. You guys enjoy the rest of the day here on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. We'll catch you in 23 hours. Woo!
The state's largest orthopedic